guys, welcome to this very special launch of Poco. Today we have the entire Poco team here with me. As you can see, we are all equally excited to bring you this amazing product. But before we get into the product, I want to give you a quick update of what we've been up to since the last time we met. Now you guys all know the Poco portfolio pretty well. You've got the Smart Starter series, the Poco C series, which pretty much has changed the game under 10K. But then when you move up, you've got the mid-range powerhouses in the M series. And then you've got the X series giving you this flagship experience at an unbelievable price. And then there is the flagship series, the F series. But that's for another day. Now let's move on to some of the amazing results that we've been seeing thanks to all the love that you've given us. Poco became the number 3 brand in online in under 10 months since it went independent. That's all to do with the love that you provided and of course the hard work of the team here. But what's even more amazing is all our phones have hit the million mark. Whether it's the C3, the M2, the M2 Pro, the X series, all have done incredibly well. Now the last phone we launched, the Poco M3, all of you have absolutely loved that phone. In fact, on day one, we sold more than 1.5 lakh phones of that. And as we stand today, we are at 500,000. And that goes to show our commitment to all of you guys to providing incredible products every single time. Today, we are kicking off season 3, as we call it internally. Now, for the last 1 year, almost all the fans that we've met kept asking us for the Poco F1 successor. What made the Poco F1 a legend? You got a Snapdragon 845 starting at 21,000 rupees. And of course, everyone loved it. It changed the Indian smartphone industry forever. While the Poco F1 was launched in August of 2018, it's been 30 months and not a single phone at this price has been able to beat its performance. Almost 80% of the people who bought a Poco F1 in 2018 are using it to this date. Today, we are here to beat the unbeaten because we know that only a Poco can beat a Poco. Introducing #Proformance, the Poco X3 Pro. Now, when we are talking about the X3 Pro beating the Poco F1, obviously we had to focus on the performance part of it. And I think we've gone all the way here. We've got the exclusive Qualcomm Snapdragon 860 powering the X3 Pro. The Poco F1 with a Snapdragon 845 does almost about 360 to 370,000 on Antutu. A couple of recent chips that were launched, say the Dimensity 800U or the Snapdragon 750, do about the same performance and come in at 320 to 330,000, below the Poco F1. Even the 765G, which was launched towards the end of last year as a flagship killer, does not come anywhere close. In fact, it's lagging behind even the 750G. Now, the X3 Pro scores almost 500,000 points on Antutu. It completely decimates all of these phones that you've seen here and sets a benchmark in the smartphone industry for years to come. Now, you are seeing this massive jump in performance thanks to the Trio 485 cores, the Adreno 640 GPU, and also an Ado. In fact, when you look at the Poco F1 and the Snapdragon 845, it beats the 845 on all 3 parameters. Now, not just the most powerful processor that we've seen in the segment ever, we are also upping the game when it comes to storage. We are giving you the best storage available in the market today, including all the flagships. UFS 3.1. 3.1 is 3 times faster than UFS 3.0. But when we look at the UFS 2.1 that was there on the Poco F1, we are taking a 14 times jump. Everything runs faster. Your games and apps load much faster than anything else out there. But not just that, when you're writing data or reading data off the storage, it's the fastest in its class. Getting 128 GB of this UFS 3.1. we understand that the X3 Pro users are performance seekers. And when you start putting in high performance games there, things fill up really fast. Take for example, the Genshin Impact game. That is a 10 GB download to start with. Now you can imagine a couple of these games, your data, and of course, everything else that you would do, and 64 GB is just not going to be enough. Now we are going to start this on 128 GB. However, you have also the option to expand via external micro SD cards, and that you can take up all the way to 1 terabyte. And you also get up to 8 GB of DDR4X RAM, completing this entire trinity of performance. In the front, you've got this large 6.67-inch display. But that's not all. You also have support for 120 Hz reality flow. So it's super smooth. And to make it even better, you've got a 240 Hz touch sampling rate. This display is also a smart display. You've got different types of content that you see on a daily basis on your phone. It could be a cricket match or a TV show, or that movie you like, or of course, with the X3 Pro, game on it. Most TV shows are at 25 frames per second. So it makes sense that the display shows them at a multiplier of 25, and in this case, it's 50. Most movies are at 30, and you get to see them at 60. And of course, this is X3 Pro. You've got Adreno 640 driving in for that gaming performance. Now, if you're watching a content which was shot at 25 frames per second, should be seen at 50, but your display is showing it at 120 throughout, not only will you see screen tearing, but you're burning battery where you don't really need to. You're getting a HDR10 certification, and of course, the phone is certified for Widevine L1. That means you can enjoy all the content from streaming services in HD quality. And to take your multimedia experience to the very next level, the X3 Pro comes with stereo speakers built in, and these speakers are loud. But we're not stopping there. You also get a whole bunch of cool things. One, aptX HD support. For those of you who are using Bluetooth headphones that can actually support aptX, you get better sound as well. And we've not forgotten the stuff that you love. It still has an IR blaster that lets you control thousands and thousands of devices in your house. You also have a headphone jack here, but not just an ordinary headphone jack. You also have support for high-res audio. So when you're watching movies, listening to music, or playing that next killer game, you're gonna love it on the X3 Pro. Now you've got so much power, but what's driving it? Let's look at the 2-day battery life on the Poco X3 Pro. Now this is a 5160 mAh battery, capable of giving you almost 10 hours of gaming or 22 hours of video playback. And in fact, when you do go down, it can charge really quickly. The 33-watt MMT charger can charge the X3 Pro up to 58% in just half an hour. Unlike other chargers with MMT technology, you're able to charge your battery in parallel, making it much, much faster. Now this is with the in-box charger. But what happens if you're outside and you need that fast charge? Or say you only have your laptop charger with you. This is where compliance with USB PD becomes super important. What is USB power delivery? Well, it's an overall industry standard that lets you use different chargers to be able to charge your devices faster versus only depending on that one particular charger that you've gotten in the box. And this is a standard that at Poco we really want to push forward. It is important that you are getting that choice. You can choose any charger that supports USB PD, and your phone should be able to charge fast even then. Now the X3 Pro features a 48 megapixel AI quad camera setup. The X3 Pro features a Spectra 380 ISP. Nothing even comes close in this price class when it comes to image signal processing. You see, the image signal processing on this is built onto the chip itself. At a hardware level, you're getting incredible performance to be able to do AI-based object segmentation, as well as the entire color science and brightness that you need for incredible images. Now here's a really good boy, looking extremely sharp and patient. But of course, what you need to focus on is the image detailing as well as the segmentation that you see from the background. Now this is happening because of the Spectra 380 kicking in when you're taking those images from the camera. We actually went ahead and took an image from the camera and printed it on a 10,000 square foot billboard in Bangalore. It has that kind of capabilities. This camera is not just about taking amazing pictures. It's also capable of doing a lot of cool, fun things. Check out this video to know more. Protecting your display is Corning's Gorilla Glass 6. Now this is giving you advanced protection for your X3 Pro. Now this is a glass that you normally see in higher priced devices. What's funny is some of the launches that you've seen recently aren't even calling out any kind of protection. Not just an amazing display protection, but we've also got you covered with an IP53 rating. Now this is covering you against your daily dust and water ingress. Let's take a look at the device itself. Now here's an Easter egg for all you Poco F1 fans, where we are naming these colors as graphite black, steel blue, and of course we're adding a third color called golden bronze. So what you see here is the same matte finish on the colors that you saw on the F1. On top of that, we've added a chroma logo, making the entire thing look really cool, and it helps repel fingerprints too. And to complete the package, you get Poco Clean Experience on the X3 Pro, which means it is clean, no ads, no monetization, entirely yours. Now coming to my favorite section, gaming. Now last year, I think it was around September or October, in one of the AMAs, I remember one question coming in. What do you think of flagship killers that were coming in at that point at 27,999, 28,999? And frankly, it was quite disappointing. You can't have a 700 series chip and call it high performance or a flagship killer. We wanted to create a flagship killer, and that's why today we have the X3 Pro. Now the Poco F1 was one of the first in its segment to get in liquid cool technology into a device, and the results were astounding. Almost all the gamers loved it. Now with the X3 Pro, we are taking it further, 70% further. Yes, the liquid cool plus technology on the X3 Pro features a heat pipe that is 70% larger than the Poco F1, which basically means it's able to draw out the heat from the SoC faster so that your processor stays cool and it stays at peak performance for your lengthy gaming sessions. Nobody plays games just for a few minutes. When you are a serious gamer, you are going in for hours. And during those marathon sessions, the peak performance can really get throttled if you don't have the right cooling system. With liquid cool technology plus, you can have that sustained peak performance required. And that can be the difference between frame drops and lags towards the end of your game, where you let your competition win or you take the trophy yourself. Now we've taken Antutu here. Now Antutu stresses your CPU, GPU and other components quite severely. And we ran Antutu 5 times in a row to see if there's any throttling coming in the X3 Pro or the competitive devices. Here's a result. You can clearly see on the X3 Pro, while it's sustaining this peak performance, the couple of other competitors really take a hammering here. The X3 Pro takes the gaming story to the next level with Game Turbo 3.0. You're getting performance optimizations, network optimizations, and even sound optimizations. Exactly the thing that you need to become a pro gamer. In short, if you're a pro gamer, X3 Pro is a no-brainer. So guys, that was the Poco X3 Pro. Hashtag Proformance. But let's see how the X3 Pro compares with some of the competition out there. We are comparing the X3 Pro with 3 other competition phones here. You've got the Realme X7, you've got the OnePlus Nord, and you've got the Samsung F62. From a performance perspective, none of these even come close. Perhaps the Samsung one does show a high Antutu score for the first time, but we saw without the right cooling tech how badly it can throttle. From a storage tech perspective, the X3 Pro is the only one to give you flagship level UFS 3.1. From a camera perspective, you saw how the computer vision ISP on the X3 Pro sets it apart from everything else out there. The X3 Pro is the only phone amongst these to feature a high refresh rate. You're getting a 120 Hz refresh rate. Not just that, you're getting a smart refresh rate display tech. The X3 Pro is the only one here with USB PD support and the only one with Corning's Gorilla Glass 6 protection. Now from a pricing perspective, you've got the X7 starting at 20,000, while the Nord and the F62 are at 28, 24 respectively. So what should the X3 Pro cost? However, all of you know the main competition for the X3 Pro, in fact, is still the Poco F1. That is the phone to beat. So maybe let's do a quick comparison in terms of how things have changed from the F1 to the X3 Pro. Now compared to the Poco F1, the X3 Pro is almost 40% faster. It features a liquid cool plus technology, which is much cooler. From a display perspective, you're going from a 60 Hz to a 120 Hz refresh rate and a smart display with almost 4 times the touch sampling. Endurance is also higher on the X3 Pro. You have a 5160 mAh battery and fast charging, a huge step up from the Poco F1. We've also upgraded from the 12 plus 5 MP on the Poco F1 to a 48 MP quad camera setup along with computer vision ISP. The storage tech on the X3 Pro is 14 times faster as UFS 3.1 handily beats the UFS 2.1 on the Poco F1. What we have retained are the 2 colors. So you're getting graphite black and steel blue that you saw on the F1, but we're adding a brand new golden bronze to the mix. So as you can see, we've upgraded almost everything from the F1, including the most important part, the performance. Now the F1 started at a price of $20,999 for the 664 variant. The question is, can we match that price? Now, when it comes to pricing, as you saw, even if you go all the way to almost 30,000 rupees, you're not able to match the performance of the X3 Pro. So how much should it really cost? Well, you know it is coming in 2 variants, the 6GB 128GB and the 8GB 128GB. Well, happy to share, the 6GB 128GB variant of the X3 Pro will be available at a price starting $18,999. That is just 16,100 plus GST. And the 8GB 128GB variant will be at a starting price of 20,999 only. That is just 17,796 plus GST. So the question is, when and where can you get the X3 Pro? The X3 Pro will be available on Flipkart on the 6th of April at 12 noon. Along with these awesome prices, you're also getting some really exciting launch offers. And the good news is, our price performance dominance does not stop with the X3 Pro. We are taking it to all new price class. You can get the Poco X3 with a Qualcomm Snapdragon 732G at a new starting price of $14,999. With this price, the Poco X3 Pro becomes the most powerful phone launched under 20,000 in the history of Indian smartphones. That's it from all of us here today. Hopefully you guys would love the Poco X3 Pro and you would love the new price performance benchmark that we've set here. Thank you, take care, stay safe, stay healthy. Bye.
Anuj, you forgot something.
One more thing. For all the Poco F1 users out there, we've got a special announcement for you day after. Stay tuned. Bye.